Hey everyone, how are you? This was just dropped off by UPS. And we're gonna this was ordered directly from Samsung. I tried to uh-oh, I hope that's just how it comes. It'd be bad if things are missing. I'd be not happy at all. Okay, it's all there. Oops. And there goes the speaker wires and such. Okay. Yeah, I had to send the speaker kit and the sound bar that I had before back for the simple fact that it didn't work. I mean, I called Samsung and spent over 2 hours on the phone with them, and a guy really, he tried his hardest, and so did I, and we could not get it to go to. Let me think. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking for one second. Here we go. We could not get it to go into ID set. ID, capital I, capital D, space SET. And because of that, the tech, he and I, neither one could figure out if it was the speakers or the sound bar. And he said he would send out technical a tech or something. And he says, which, if that tech couldn't do it, then they would take the, try to take the sound bar and take the speakers and take them in and try to figure out what is wrong. Well, they were brand new. He didn't offer to replace them. If they're brand new, you take it back. So that's what I did. And he suggested that I go with these speakers, the speaker set, which is a wireless rear speaker SWA 9100S, which is an older model, but he liked it better for some reason. So hey, I'm going with what he said. Why not? I've got the new sound bar. It won't be here till Monday, but I know it's going to be hard for y'all to see. That's where one of the speakers is going to go. As you can see, I have no space, and that's where the other one's going to go. So they're not completely wireless, we know that. This is the module. I mean, some people may get the idea that they're totally wireless, but they're not. This is a module. There's where you plug it in, and these go to your speakers. These top two here. But it says you having a speaker wire or cable and all that coming clear across your room. So it comes with a user manual, and these speakers and these are it looks like a metal case. And you've got the Samsung brand right here. And this is how you connect them. And this is pretty easy to do because it says Samsung right. This one is sturdy. It's got a little speaker here. I don't know if, yeah, you can see it. And then it's got your heavier one, which is probably your bass, and this one's probably the treble or whatever. But this one says Samsung left. Now, one of the other problems I had with the other speakers was the keyhole up here. You could not put the I mean, these are set to sit on a shelf. Well, I have no shelf, and I have no room for a shelf. So that's why I had to mount them up high. But I confirmed that it would be okay. But the problem I had also, I'll show you real quick because I haven't put the other one up. And all those people who says, oh yeah, we got the work, piece of cake. We got the speakers connected and put them on the mounts, and they work just easy. Well, guess what? Because of the thickness of the speakers, it would not work. And so what I had to do was I ordered the speaker mounts, And that was kind of a nightmare because I don't know what it is, but we went to the store. I went to the, they were missing some screws. You know, when you get a plastic, one of these hard plastic cases, and when you get a hard plastic case and like this, showing the speaker mount, but the sides are broken open, it's going to be missing parts. So I decided I'd just go up to the local hardware store and match up some screws and stuff, which the guy helped me, but then the head of the screw was still too big, so I got some more screws and put this in, and it will hold those speakers up on those mounts. So if you happen to get this type of mount, which I think is cool because that's what it's going to need, for the simple fact that I'm going to have to turn these speakers down towards me. And oh, and by the way, real quick, this bottom shows these little nipples. They are not rubber, so they will slide. But anyway, it was missing parts. Yes, it was. So if you get one, if you're lucky enough to go to a store that sells them, look inside, because usually you'll see the wall anchors and the screws and all that, and make sure all the parts are there before you buy it. I ordered it, and I think it was a return or something, because, or it may not have been, but you know, it's one of these things where they close together really tight, and it had a staple right here and over here. Now that could be because it was stapled back because it had been used, or it could be that it was stapled for hanging on a display or something. You never know. But anyway, yeah, it was missing some screws, just like me. No. But the other one, like I say, the other speakers, I don't think you really can. Yeah, I guess you can. The other speakers, see if I can get a flashlight here. Maybe that'll help. But you can see how thick that is in there. And without the right screws and stuff, you're not going to get anything that's going to slide in there. And what happened on the first kit I got is the screws were not long enough. And I went on looking, you know, through websites, seeing if I'm making an error or something like that. And I found that a lot of people were saying that the screws were not long enough. And this is what you get in it. the wall anchors and all that, and you get these screws. But if some of them are missing, you're not going to put it together. Just not going to work. So, and mine had some missing. And by the way, these are not $23.99 for a set. It's $23.99 each. Anyway, so like I said, I went up to the local hardware store, and the guy helped me find some screws which are metric, and because they've got all these cool things that sticking out of the wall, you know, little tubes, and all they have to do is take your screw and slide it in there, and that tells them if it's American or metric or whatever, and it tells the size too, which I would have been there all day trying to figure that out, and trying to figure out of the 1,000 drawers that they have which screws are what. So the guy walked me right up and put it in, and then the head of the screw, one of the heads of the screws that I was trying to get also is this one right here. And the one that he picked out, because it has to hold this portion on also, the one he picked out, the head was bigger than the sink right here, so it would not fit and hold this portion on. So after I did my grocery shopping, came home, went to put it together, I was like, man, no. So I had to go back to the hardware store, and luckily the man was still there. And he saw what he did, and he says, So he took me over, and then we found some. He was really nice. That was cool. But anyway, it comes with your wire to plug it in, turn it on. It comes with your speaker wires, 2 of them. And your instruction manual. And your specifications and guides and all that. And I'm not sure of the length of the speaker wire, so I might have to read it, but I'm hoping, because what I plan on doing is putting the wireless module here. I want to put it over in that corner right there, right in that little cubby hole, because that way it doesn't block any heat or anything, and I can tap into that plug right there, and then the left one can go all the way up to there, to that mount. Then I have to have enough wire to run it all the way over to there. So hopefully that will all work out. My son, I won that apron at his school. It's pretty cool. It's got the teacher, and it's got my son and the teacher and his whole class, and it's all got their thumbprints and different colors on it. Pretty cool. They were having a silent auction for one of the classmates who had cancer and needed treatment. So we donated some stuff, and I was sitting there bidding on it and bidding on it, and someone kept boosting it up, and I'm like, man. And I bid again. I never caught the name on it. And at the end, it was kind of funny because the guy, one of the guys who was he and his wife were kind of like in charge of the auction, and he was a retired uh, state trooper. And anyway, when they called the time for the auction, it was over with. I'm like, man, and he looked up the name and he says, let's give this number a call. And he dialed it, and he says, it comes back disconnected. And he says, let's look up the name again. And he looks it up, and I know he did it. I know he did, so I would win the auction, because it had a really outlandish name. I mean, I don't know what it was. I don't remember, but it was funny. And so I won it, and it was worth it. So I just keep it up there, and I can't wash it because it'll wash out all the thumbprints. So it's been up there since he was in the 2nd grade. So yeah. Anyway, that was just an off the wall story, since I was flashing the insides of my house. What you see here, why I don't have room to put those speakers on a shelf or anything. And yeah, so these speakers are a little bit smaller than my other speakers, the other ones that I showed, but that's okay. The guy told me these are better speakers and everything else, so I'm believing in him. He tried his best to get me to try to get me hooked up the last time, and I know it was frustrating for him, because I was a tech also, and when you can't fix something, it's frustrating. He knew that I was doing everything he said, and so it was getting frustrating for him. And at the end, he says, "You're the nicest customer I've had all day." And I said, "Hey, I know how it is." So yeah, he suggested this speaker kit, and so I've got the new sound bar coming in soon, Monday, supposed to be. I don't think that FedEx delivers on Sunday, but if not, it'll be here Monday. And then I'll see y'all again, and we'll connect this up and see if it all works like it's supposed to. And I'm excited. What can I say? And if it doesn't, I'm going to give up on sound bars, because the first sound bar I had was from Philips, and they did not box. I couldn't believe it. They didn't box the sound bar. It was a sound bar with a subwoofer, and they didn't box it in a bigger box. So when it arrived, it was all torn up. I mean, because it looked like a big pistol. And so I could just imagine, the carriers, whoever it was, throwing it over their shoulder, using that as a, because here you've got this 3 to 4 foot long part. It's not, you couldn't see it was a part, but it was in cardboard. So you got this 3 or 4 foot long cardboard, and then you got up on the end this heavy part, which was a subwoofer, but right where it connected to the heavy part was broken, and the subwoofer was bent. I mean, the sound bar was bent, and then we found out it did not work at all. So, I mean, it worked, it came on, but it had dents in it and everything, and you could actually see the dents, but then we couldn't get it to connect to any other speakers, and I kept getting error messages, and I was not a happy camper. So it wasn't working, and I sent it back to him. And then I decided I would try another one, which was a Samsung, and I tried it. I got it here, and then it would not connect to the speakers that I had ordered, and so I contacted Samsung, and I can go back, Philips. I tried to contact their tech support. It was like I couldn't even get. Well, first I'll tell you the story. I sent an email and requested tech support, and this lady sent me an email back and said, and she sent it the next day. She says, "I'm sorry, we don't handle the tech support here. Here is a number to call to handle your tech support." So I says, "Okay, that's cool." I called that number, and of course you had to go through all the robotic stuff. If you want it in English, press 1. If you want it in Spanish, press 2. If you want Arabic, press 3. If you want Chinese, press 4. On and on and on and on. And then the next thing it asked was, what are you having problems with? And it says 1, and it gave something. 2, it gave something. 3, it gave something. 4, it gave something. And so I went through all these, and it would connect me to someone, but then I'd get hung up on, literally. And then finally, I got someone from pressing one of the other options, and this guy says, "Oh," he says, "just a minute." And he put me on hold, and he comes back, "Oh, we don't support those anymore." What? I just bought the thing. You don't support it? And he said, "No, we don't support it." He says, "But I'll give you a number that supports it." And so he gave me another number, an 800 number. And I called, and it was out of business. So, the phone was disconnected. And I'm like, I'm not going through all that. You don't want to go through that when you buy something brand new. That's just not right. So I sent it back, and then I got the Samsung, and like I say, we couldn't get it to go into ID set, which is what has to happen in order for it to connect to the speakers. And I don't know. This should have. Yeah, okay. I don't know if y'all can see that right there, but it says ID set. If you have to do it on this one, you poke an ink pen in there, and it will connect with your sound bar, and then it will set the ID, and it will be connected. Because what's supposed to happen is, or what will happen, I hope, is it's going to show you on the back a blue flashing light. I think on the back. Maybe on the front. We don't know yet until I get the sound bar, but it'll be flashing, and when you click the ID set, it'll come on to your sound bar, and you wait, and all of a sudden it'll turn from a flashing blue to a solid blue. And then when you've got it off, it'll turn to an orange in the standby mode. Well, we couldn't get the other sound bar to do any of that. And the guy says, "Well, I'll have to send over a technician." And I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, we'll have to send over a technician," which I've already been through that with a computer once. And I'm like, "No." Because like I say, I was a tech, and I wasn't about to. I had a guy start yelling at me, and I'm like, "You can just be glad you're not here yelling at me." That would not be good. I mean, And what he wanted to do is he wanted to send someone else over here to fix my computer or look at it, and then probably send it back or put in some parts or something like that. I don't know. And I'm like, and how long is that going to take? Well, let's see. We have a schedule. We can get a tech over there in 2 weeks. And that was about what was going to happen also with that last sound bar. We'll get a tech over here in 2 weeks. And then after that, if it's something that's internal, they'll have to send it off, and it'll take about maybe 3 weeks to a month. And I'm like, no, that's, if you get something new, and it doesn't work, you go back and you exchange it, right? That's what I've always done. So I wasn't gonna. So I ended up calling Amazon, and I got them to take it back. They wanted me. They said they were surprised that they didn't offer to just exchange it outright. And I said, no, they never offered that. So, uh, it's like I told her. I said, I'm sending it back, and once I get the money back from it, I'll order again. Because I want one. If it's new, it's supposed to be new and it's supposed to be working. If it's not working, I don't want to have to send it off right away. And same thing with Philips. And the reason I got the Philips is because I have a Philips TV. And they kind of got mad at me. Philips did. And I says, it's like if you go someplace and you go downstairs and put money in the candy machine to get a candy bar, and no candy bar comes out, and you put some tape over the slot, and you get someone to go get you some paper, and you write out of order, and you put it back, and that's what I was doing. They didn't like that idea, so needless to say, I've got another Samsung soundbar coming in, and it's not coming in as fast as it would have if I would have ordered through if I would have ordered through I ordered it from Walmart, and so it's coming from someplace in New Jersey, and if I would have ordered it from Amazon, it would have been here in 2 days. But I don't know, and the prices were all the same. So, and I'm not complaining. I mean, things happen. But if you buy something new, you want it to work. So, yeah. I talked them into, I still don't have my money back on the other one yet, so that's one of the reasons I went on and ordered from Walmart, because they'll take anything back. I promise. So, and Amazon's that way too. They'll take stuff back, but they tried to talk me into sending it to Samsung, and I'm like, no, this is brand new. I mean, I've just got, and the same thing with Philips. I've just got it in my head. If you're going to buy something brand new, you want it to work. If the store is down the street, which it's not, but if it was, and I bought it, and you think about this, what I'm saying, and if you bought it and you got it home and it didn't work, and you went through tech support and everything else still didn't work, you would take it back to the store and they would switch it out. They're not going to try to talk you into sending it off to the company, so yeah, I was just, we'll see how this works. But, and I mean, Samsung and Philips are both good companies, don't get me wrong. Whatever you do, they're good companies. But, and some things can happen. Things that can happen in shipping and all that. So you got to be aware of it. And one of the things is, you got to be aware, even though it says wireless, it's not totally wireless. Okay, even on the other speakers, you had one speaker, um, which you had to have a plug to go in to power it, and then you had to get it to set up with your sound bar, which we never could get them to pair. They just kept saying, it just kept flashing no matter what we did. I mean, I even learned how to reset the sound bar that I had to factory settings. And the tech, I think he was like, okay, this has to be something internal because it just wasn't working. So, you get, and I mean, I appreciate the tech spending that long with me, 2 hours trying to everything. I mean, we changed out HDMI cables, you name it. Reset this, reset that. It just wasn't going to have it. So, and then at the end, neither one of us knew if it was the speakers that were bad or the sound bar that was bad. And now I know it is probably, well, still you don't know because I was looking at all the connections, how to connect the other speakers and everything, and I saw where a guy did it and it showed on the sound bar ID set. We never could get it to go to ID set no matter what. That's even after totally resetting the sound bar to factory reset. We couldn't get it to do it. And so we didn't know which, if it was the speakers or the sound bar. So well, we just sent it both back, and if they had a technician that's going to come over here, that technician, first thing he's going to do is try everything we did, probably quicker, maybe not, maybe same amount, but that's going to cost him a ton of money, and he's not going to spend a lot of time doing it. He's going to say, okay, let's just, maybe then they would say, let's exchange it, but then it's been like 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and I'm like, no. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy the new one's coming, and it'll be here Monday. Today is Saturday, so I'm happy, and I'm going to have to measure this wire. It looks like the one on the right may have more wire to it. But I've got wire. Oh Lord, do I have wire. I've got a big box full of wire. Just, I used to have a Creative Sound Labs, and they're awesome. I mean, I had the 5.1 or 7.1, and it had 7 speakers all together, and I had them all over the bedroom and everything, and I could blast that thing. I mean, because I was using my computer, I could just blast that thing, and then the computer went out. And a little funny story is, I was spraying Febreze. I think it was Febreze. No, it wasn't Febreze. It was Windex. And I was cleaning the screen off of the CRT. That was a monitor that I had. And all of a sudden, there was a knock at the door, and it was, I think, either UPS or FedEx. And my son was about 3, just turned 3 or whatever. And he always liked to watch what I do and learn. And I had the music playing. I went to the door, and the guy looked and asked if I was who I was, and I says yes. And he had me sign the thing. I noticed that my music went off while I was talking to him. I didn't think anything about it, and I signed for it, and he took off, and I went back to my room, and my monitor and the computer were totally soaked. Totally soaked. I mean, my son, he was going to try to help Daddy, and so he sprayed that Windex all in the monitor. It fried the monitor. But I guess it shorted the computer for just a few seconds. He sprayed it on the computer too, but it shorted it, and I had to turn it off. And then when I got a new monitor, I was like, man, I built this computer. I hope this monitor works. and because I can build a computer in about 2 hours from scratch if I got all the parts. And and sure enough, I put the monitor in, and I was like, "Whoo!" because it worked. So yeah, that was. I mean, my son was a character. We'd go out after I'd get off work, and I worked nights, and I would get off work at about midnight, 11 to midnight or so, and sometimes a little bit later, and I'd come home, and he'd be still awake because he hadn't started any type of school yet, and he'd be awake, so I'd have to go out and uh, water all the tree holes and water the garden. We had a big garden, and water all the plants basically. And I'd hand him the hose on a lot of them, and I'd say, water that hole, and he'd start filling up the hole, and I'd turn around a little bit, and I knew he was going to do it, and he would spray me with the garden hose. It was fun. We had a great relationship when he was young. That's why you see in a lot of my videos, get your kids involved, and I truly mean that. Just watch out for safety, get your kids involved, have them do it. Even cooking, my son got involved and everything else, and he took two college courses in high school on culinary and passed them. So they pay attention to you, and it brings you closer together. So always get your kids involved if you can. Okay, I know I've jibber jabbered long enough. So anyway, we will see y'all again Monday to connect this to the new sound bar. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, depends on what time the sound bar gets here, and to see if this works. And I hope it does. So y'all stay safe, and just remember, if you're in a warm place, we're just been in the 20s around here. So if you're in a warm place, go swimming. If you're in a cold place, find a warm place, go swimming. If you can't find a warm place to go swimming, just snuggle up with someone, who knows, or with a big blanket or teddy bear or something. Stay warm and stay safe. That's the bottom line. Love y'all. See y'all soon. Bye.